Seems legit. Laser.
Hello Legitimates, and welcome back to another laser video. Today I am doing the rainbow watch bands for my friend. So we're going to go to Design Find and just type in watch jig and hit enter, or you can hit the search button, and then we get all of these different options. Now you can use your credits or purchase them with like PayPal or a credit card, but I'm going to go to community created projects because these ones are always free and sometimes you can find them for free. So here's one right here. It's had a lot of downloads, but if you scroll down you can see all different ones and you can pick whichever one suits your needs. You could probably just type in the word jig and see all the different options. Now these are for all machines, so I'm going to give it a like because I always like to like what I download. I think it's nice to do for the people. So we're going to click open in XCS and it will open it straight up. And then I am going to pick my machine. I have called it Slayer because it's way more fun than just random things. And then it's going to load. So this is what we get. Now I don't need that many watch band bits, so I'm going to delete some of them because realistically I probably only need to do one. I'll never probably do more than one at a time, but I'm going to keep a few just in case. Now my OCD kicked in about here and I want them more straight. See how it's just slightly crooked? It was really annoying my brain, so you will watch me do a lot of editing to fix this problem. But you can see here I'm going to select some stuff and then delete it because I don't want that many. And then I'm going to put it on its side because that way it can run along and do the embroidery, the lasering the long way. So it twists it over and you can get pretty close, but see how it's still crooked? That's my fault. So we are going to fix it though. So you can select just one or all or just half of it, and then we're going to try and maneuver it by itself, but it always goes a bit far. So you can actually type into the degree up here how many degrees you want it to rotate. 2 was too much. Negative was not it either. So I just stuff around with this until I get it right. And now that I've got it right, I'm going to draw a rectangle around these. Now this is if you've got a large piece of wood and you want to cut out a jig specifically. I want it a little bit closer to this end, but I'm leaving a gap on the right hand side. So if it's going to laser really quickly, it won't be too close to the edge of the laser. This will just help prevent any issues towards the edge of it. So I'm leaving that gap there because it's going to sit in the corner of my honeycomb and that gets close to the edge. So I'm also trying to line these up so that it's, as neat as possible. It's just my OCD or ADHD or whatever you want to call it. I just like things to be even. So I'm deleting all of those. I'm going to set these two exactly how I want them, and then I can just copy and paste it. So you want a little bit of a gap, but I'm also trying to get them lined up in case the laser wants to go all the way across. So then I select them both. Control C is copy, Control V is paste, like pretty much any program ever. And then I'm just going to line them up like so. Now, I want to do some framing and we're going to pick cut. I've got a wood cut set for my 3mm wood. It is 100% power, 10 millimeters a second with 2 passes. And then I'm going to bring it down to the corner. And then you'll see that I found a piece of wood in my scrap that is pretty much the size we need. So this is what I've got, and I've tucked it into, you can see I've tucked it all the way into the right-hand side, but I'm also pushed the honeycomb up and all the way to the right so that it is always going to be in exactly the same spot. And then to do a framing, first you have to get the depth because that helps it with a more accurate framing, just to make sure that everything is actually going to fit onto my random piece of wood that I found. Now, if not, we can keep that rectangle and use that to cut out a piece. You can see here it does just fit, so I'm happy. And then we're going to leave it as is. I'm going back to the machine and I'm hitting start, and you can see how my edge is a little bit different. I forgot to turn my air assist on. Air assist always makes everything cut better. So I set it halfway through the first one. It did the 2 passes as I requested, and then you can see these didn't pop out as gloriously as I was hoping. So I'm going to put it in front of me. I actually turn it over and poke them from the other way, and they came out very easily after I did that. That could be because of the air assist issue where I had it off. Who knows? So now, again, we're going to stick it back into that corner, and then I'm going to place my watch band in one of the sets. It doesn't matter which one. You want to make sure that it is nice and even, though. And then we're going to go back to our computer, and I'll show you what we do next. So we're all complete. I'm going to select these, and then I forget where to click. So this is me trying to remember. We want to select everything. And then you want to have the output set to off because we don't want to keep cutting that anymore. And then we're going to go over to them, right click, and then click lock. So now when I can't actually select them anymore. They are stuck there. That is the exact position that they will forever be in so that I can perfectly line it up. So that lock is how you create your jig. And then you will save that in your computer or wherever as watch jig. So every time you open it, it will be perfectly aligned for what you need. Now, this is a design file that I purchased online. I will put a link for it down below. I thought it was quite pretty, and she did specifically ask for mermaid scales. And the reason I like this one is because there's random ones that are fully engraved, which means that the rainbow will shine through even more. So I'm just going to get rid of that blue writing because it was just, telling you stuff that you might need to know, and then delete all the multiples. And then I'm going to take these, switch it around, and line it up in here. So it's obviously too big, so I need to shrink it down. You want it to be inside of these lines, so you just keep shrinking until it's where you want it. But then we're going to have the problem of it's not long enough, and we need to get it really just in those lines. If you get them out, it's just not going to laser engrave on your watch band. So this is a little bit fiddly, but it's worth it because it will look amazing. So you can see it's not long enough. I am going to move the actual module in the laser, and that is now positioned at the end of it. So I'm going to just stretch it to make it go all the way to the end. Now, because it is scales, even though I've stretched the design, it doesn't look bad. So that's fine. The other option is you can copy and paste bits of it to make it fit. This side, however, should mostly fit because this half of the watch band is always the same. Or at least that's what I'm hoping. So I'm going to line it up. We need to obviously shrink it down again to fit within the zone. And then I'm going to zoom in and get it where I want it. If you need to stretch it, by all means, go ahead. I need to get it within those lines. Otherwise, you're just going to laser engrave your jig. Now, it's not the end of the word if you do that, because it is wood and the silicone settings are a lot less. So it won't overly damage your jig, but it is always better to get it inside the lines. And I've got this saved here for this purpose, but otherwise you can just search it up. These are the xTool ones as well. And it's telling you which setting it's already picked for you. So I'm quite happy with that. I like to just do the basics, and then I think that's just about it. And we can go to process and laser engrave. I have sped it up, obviously. And I was a little bit worried because it still looks black. So as soon as this finished, I stuck my finger in it to make sure that it went colorful. So you can see there, and it does wipe off and be colorful. So now that I'm happy, I've pulled them out. And we just need to clean them up. So I have used disinfectant wipes. You can use baby wipes or makeup wipes or, alcohol and water, whatever you want, just to scrub all of that off. And you can see it is quite black. And then it looks amazing. I like that it kind of gets to reveal itself. That was really fun for me, but, each their own. So that is quite the rainbowy design, and you can see it looks amazing. The last step for me was to put it in a box, and it looks like the perfect gift. Make sure you like this video, and thanks for tuning in.